I've now decided, I'm getting near the point where I might want to exit this thing. When do
Hmm.
you suggest starting to really get serious about that concept, in
Mm.
terms of an actual end date for exit, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, if that thought has crossed your mind, then you should have already started by now.
Yep.
Right? I mean, in what me and some of my friends that have sold their businesses say something along the lines of you don't choose the time chooses you. And so, I don't think it's ever too early to start thinking about exit, and planning for it and actually taking the steps towards increasing your valuation. Because once again, not only are you going to be running a more profitable, more enjoyable business, that it's actually preparing for the ones you love, right? Because we none of us ever know when something's going to happen to us, and would you rather leave a business behind that is profitable and can run itself, and the people that you leave behind have plenty of time to decide what to do? Or would you rather be running something that is going to plunge into chaos the moment you're not around? So yeah, so it is never too early to start planning. And when I think about that, I start when I any of my clients that I start with, we usually start with actually planning their pathway towards their retirement, essentially, and saying, okay, well, what's your number? What does that look like? What does it look like to, you don't, you hopefully you go on to do something even more fun than running an MSP. But when you're done running an MSP, in order to not be able to work anymore, what would you need to, what would you need to have? What would that financial number be? And then, well, how do we look at valuation in light of that, right? Because at the end of the day, the purpose of your business should be to serve your goals as an individual, right? And to achieve your financial goals. And so, how do we plan towards that? And that's what we look at. Okay, what does current valuation look like? What number do you need to hit in valuation of the company, with considering the taxes that you'll have to pay and all of that, in order to hit your number? And then what does the growth trajectory look like in order to get there over what time period? And if you can do all of that and do that planning, now it's like suddenly, oh, we're beginning with the end in, right? We understand where we want to go, so we can plan a path towards that. And we can actually create a strategy, which I like to say is deciding what game you want to play, and then you actually have a scoreboard, so to speak, to tell you when you won the game. And once you've won the game, then I mean, you can decide if you want to keep playing or change the game, or completely go play a completely other game, a different game than you've been playing before. So that's how I like to think about it. And a lot of the work that I do with my clients.
Yeah, and to your point, that it usually finds you is so true, right? Because you may say I want to be 3 years, but the true opportunity comes in a year and a half or comes in four. But if you're taking those
Mhm.
right steps, the one thing that you are protecting is you're going to maximize your exit, and that's really what it's all about is, ensuring that when the time does find you, that
Mhm.
you're still not at a point where you're carrying excess fat on your books that might be
Mhm.
EBITDA. And I'm not talking about humans even here, although that's usually a place we look to get leaner, right?
Right.
But
Right.
just even looking at all the things that go into every day. Are you still marketing heavy? As you were once before? Because there is a time to start getting a little bit leaner on the books in that process. At
Yeah,
least in my
perhaps.
opinion.
Mhm.
You may feel
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there are owners that leave millions and millions of dollars on the table because they didn't take the time to prepare. And it can, I mean, that like the preparation can literally be worth millions of dollars. Even just changing, like subtle changes over time make huge differences when it comes time to exit. And so just knowing that and preparing for it can make a really, really big difference.